time for a review of stories now making headlines across papers in Nigeria. And I have two gentlemen joining me now to do justice to this. I have a journalist, Dario Dufowokon, and a lawyer, public affairs analyst, Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming.
Good morning.
Right. Let's begin with the Nation newspaper this morning. That's where we start from. June 12, Tinubu seeks urgent legislative action. APC leader lauds President's action on Democracy Day. Right? That's what it's on the front page of the Nation. From there, let's go to the Daily Sun. 30,000 naira salary. Workers to wait. Committee working out modalities gets 4 weeks to submit report. Okay. Certainly, we'll be talking about that shortly. Let's move now to the Nigerian Tribune. The Tribune is saying we are not planning to overthrow Buhari. Defense headquarters is revealing that, and that follows a publication recently which the defense headquarters had to reply to or respond to. From the Nigerian Tribune, let's go to the blueprint now. 2019. INEC begins prosecution of electoral offenders, says court upturned primary elections in 22 constituencies. And Bayelsa rejects November polls on Thanksgiving Day. Okay, from the blueprint, let's go to The Guardian. The Guardian is our next paper now. Knoxville federal government has family, friends mark Leah Sharibu's birthday. All across parts of the country, Leah Sharibu's birthday was marked in Abuja, in Jos, in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in New York, in Washington, D.C., as well as in London. Okay, Vanguard is our next paper now. State of the Nation, Bakari, Khan, Afenifere, Ohaneze, Onaikon, others raise concern. And Sheikh Abubakar Makinde back Bakari. And Bakari can relocate to another country. Presidency source is saying that. Okay, a lot of Nigerians raising concern to the state of the nation. All right, gentlemen, I'd like us to talk about the story on the front page of the Daily Sun. 30,000 naira salary, workers to wait. And committee working out modalities gets 4 weeks to submit reports. Now, on this issue, the implementation committee was inaugurated yesterday at the presidency, and 4 weeks to wait. I wonder what you make of this, because everyone was expecting salaries to kick off from even April. Labour is saying it has to start in April. Dari?
A lot of workers are already expecting some backlogs. That, from April salary, they had to pay them some sort of arrears. But that's it is. You see, whatever is worth doing at all, in my opinion, is worth doing well. The implementation committee or panel that is being put in place is actually a very necessary one. Okay. Because we are already seeing discordant tones over this approved amount. Some states are currently negotiating with the labor leaders in their various states to the effect that we can't pay 30,000. Come, let's sit down together and see how we can. If there is no central body, some sort of central coordination for this, we will still find a situation where some states will continue paying the 18,000 as we speak.
And even struggling to pay the 18,000.
Many are not paying 18,000 minimum wage. How many years after it was approved? Now we expect them to move up to 30,000. Some states will have it so tough with their labor leaders that at the end of the day, the workers will just say, okay, just continue to give us what you were giving, and that will be the end of that thing. So,
like Nigerians will say, at all, nine bad.
And then that state, the worker therein will suffer. All right. While others get their due.
Jide, this committee is supposed to work out the relativity of salaries between those who are moving to 30,000 naira now and those who were either on 30,000 or 40,000 naira, moving them upwards somewhere. So there's going to be generally a rejig of the entire salary structure. But this committee, one would say that 4 weeks, I wonder how little or how much time that is.
I think the concept is quite unfortunate. You see, one thing we learned in business is that you either live by default or by strategy. One would have expected that a government who increased minimum wage should have put everything in place towards the implementation. I'm asking a question this morning. What do we have the ministries, departments, and agencies when we have to set up a committee? I recall that in 2018, Workers' Day, the Minister of Labor and Employment said that by September this will be resolved. And the government gave a whole year. What are we talking about?
So we expected that this implementation committee should have been working all the while.
It shows me that there is no level of seriousness in the action of the government. I mean, let me be sincere. Let me ask a question. Do we set up a committee to pay attention to the allowances of the National Assembly members or to the elite? You see, and it's quite worrisome. What the Constitution stipulates is a minimum living wage. And one of the elements you find in an undeveloped country is a weak human capital. And this has to do with it. And that's why we have a lot of issues around it. I wish the government the best, the committee, and I hope another committee will not be set up after the 4 weeks. We need to plan and be strategic.
Okay, Jide has said there are MDAs, you know, there are departments that are supposed to work out this. What's the need of a committee in the first place?
The world over for committees to be set up to address peculiar issues. You see, we can blame this government as much as we want to over this minimum wage issue. But I think we should give them some slacks. In this situation, the amount has been approved, but the federal government sees some disparity. The federal government is noticing some discordant tunes. And like a concerned government, it is saying, come, there is need for us to still harmonize these things. Let's have a committee to look at those who are gravitating upward and those who were...
But this is not the first time, Dari, that we are moving our minimum wage from one level to the other. And there is a commission for salaries and wages and emoluments and all of that. Those
commissions and MDAs were there when we moved from whatever to 18,000
So the template should have been there.
That's what I'm saying. Those MDAs, those commissions were there when we moved from whatever to 18,000 naira. And some states are still not paying 18,000 naira today. Meaning that
if this committee comes on board now, what is the assurance that the states can pay the 18,000?
We would have taken this step of talking about it. You see, I am an advocate of let's talk about everything. It is when we talk about it and we are unable to implement it, the records are there. Oh, we spoke about it. You were given an assignment to do this. Governors, at this meeting with the implementation committee, you agreed or you disagreed. Then we have to find a way. From there, we'll move forward. And I believe that when we leave things unattended to, it is more dangerous than going there and disagreeing. It's better for us to disagree. At the end of the day, we agree. We now have a committee. I expect that we will not make the same mistake that was made while we were negotiating this amount. When governors were parrying and dilly-dallying, and at the end of the day, some of them are saying, we still can't pay 30,000. They had the opportunity of insisting and contributing to that robust debate.
All right. Jide, we're here where we are already, making moves, moving on towards the day one way or the other. The inauguration committee was, the implementation committee was inaugurated yesterday. We haven't heard anything from Labour. We understand Labour members some Labour will be represented in that committee. Do you feel that everything is okay?
I think Labour is busy with the NSITF trackers with the minister. But let me just tell us, I think the governor of Cross River State, Professor Benedict Ayade, already paid. He even paid on May 1st. In fact, the workers protested that the salary was coming too early, but a characteristic of him. I think we should leave NLC with the state governors. This is a function of prioritization. How much is the security vote, and yet we have insecurity? We need to rejig, and that is my concern. You see, there are 3 levels of problems. You have a problem, you don't know the solution. You have a problem, you know the solution, and you are sluggish in implementing the solutions. Then the third one, you have a problem, you know the solutions, you are not willing to apply the solutions.
So
I think we need to move forward as a nation.
ourselves?
If the human capital is important to us, we pay attention.
Okay.
We find money to play politics. We find money to fuel luxuries. We find money to attend to the elite, and yet the workforce that should add value to the economy is being neglected. And you now wonder why we were rated the capital of poverty. So
all right,
we have
to leave you here now.
Approach.
All right, we have to leave you here now, Jide Ologun. Thank you so much for coming. Dario Odufonwoko, thank you very much.
Joining me in the studio to do justice to that are two gentlemen, journalist Dario Odufonwoko and lawyer and public affairs analyst Jide Ologun. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
All right, so we head straight to the papers now, and we start with The Nation. June 12th, Tinubu seeks urgent legislative action. APC leaders lauds President's action on Democracy Day. And to the front page of the Daily Sun, 30,000 naira salary, workers to wait. Committee working out modalities gets 4 weeks to submit report. And to the Nigerian Tribune, we are not planning to overthrow Buhari. That's the BHQ there, Defense Headquarters speaking. And on the front page of the Blueprint 2019, INEC begins prosecution of electoral offenders, says court upturned primary elections in 22 constituencies. Bielsa rejects November polls on Thanksgiving Day. To the front page of The Guardian, knocks for federal government is family, friends, mark Leah Sharibu's birthday. Foundation urges Aisha Buhari to intervene. Ezekwesili, others lament inability to rescue girl. Students sing, pray for abducted colleague. And finally, on the front page of the Vanguard, State of the Nation, Bakari Khan, Afenifere Ohaneze, Onayekan, others raise concern. Sheikh Abubakar Makinde Bakari can relocate to another country, presidency source. Well, gentlemen, one story I would like for us to look at is on the front page of the Nation newspaper, June the 12th, being recognized, and the president's inauguration, second term inauguration, is going to take place on that day, and Tinubu, that's Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has lauded the president's move to recognize that day and ensure that his inauguration takes place that day. And he's now asking for a legislative action backing June the 12th. I'll start with you, Derek.
Yeah, like Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, the decision of the federal government now, through President Muhammadu Buhari, to get more recognition. He already announced June 12th as our National Democracy Day.
That was
but
last
the
year.
day, that was last year, the day will just be any other day unless and until certain activities are lined up to be observed on that day to give fillip to it. And after his announcement, the first June 12th day is coming at a time when he is about to take office for a new tenure. And in his wisdom, he has decided that what will happen on May 29 will just be a solemn oath-taking ceremony, so that it can officially, it can constitutionally commence a new term. However, all other activities usually identified or associated with May 29 are now moved to June 12 to commemorate the first June 12 after the date became our official National Democracy Day.
Can we call it official? Because it's not yet backed by the Constitution.
It is backed by a presidential pronouncement, so it is official. What is required now is legislation to ensure that another pronouncement does not just come and change it. The National Assembly needs to legislate on it now, get it into our books. It becomes identified. It is convenient for President Buhari to ensure that in the next 4 years, we'll celebrate June 12th as National Democracy Day because he's still in office.
Yes.
But when he leaves, if there is no proper legislation, somebody else can say, no, let's revert back to May 29. So what Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu is calling for is something that will make the June 12th date as a national enduring, and it becomes something we'll do annually with convenience.
Let's get Jide's perspective on this issue now. Looking at the time that the legislators have, and you understand what the process is when it comes to amending the Constitution, do you think that this will be possible before they leave?
Definitely, it's not a possibility, I mean, so to say. But I want us to focus on what June 12 represents, because many are just hearing June 12, particularly the younger ones. June 12, 1993 was when Nigerians came out to vote, and the voting was free, fair, credible. It was option A4, open balloting. And despite the fact that it was adjudged the free and fair and credible election, the government of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida annulled the elections. And he later confessed that he was compelled by a force to do that, claiming that if MKO Abiola was sworn into office, it would have led to crisis. And we wonder what kind of crisis. But having said that, the tag then was Hope 93. And my question now is, Nigeria better about 26 years down the lane, you know? And because if you look at democracy, there are two parts to democracy. You have the procedural, which is the process of voting. Can we say that the last election we had in earlier in 2019 reflects the kind of election we had then?
On June 12th.
And you now talk about the substantive aspect of democracy, which is to enhance the fortune of the society. Can we say that Nigeria is better now? So I think deeply, for me, I see it more as a political pacifying issue. And I want us to look at the critical issue.
The recognition?
Exactly. How can we use the governance process now to improve the lot of the people in the way that if MKO Abiola resurrects suddenly into a Nigeria today, he will be glad that he paid a huge sacrifice.
Well, we can start from somewhere.
I think we should not take away the importance of what has been done. You see, for some of us, June 12 is a personal thing. Some of us were out there in the trenches with national leaders then, as young activists and student union leaders. We lost friends, we lost colleagues, and some of these people, their parents, their relatives are still alive now.
So recognizing that day.
I spoke with a 93-year-old mother of one of our late colleagues the day President Mohamed Buhari made the announcement, and she was pleased. It had some form of soothing relief. You see, the process of rebuilding is not a one-off thing. It encompasses a lot of things. One of the process of rebuilding what we lost to the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election is to recognize that day. The day has come to mean so many things to so many people. The families of the late Pa Alfred Rewane, the Kudirat Abiola's family, many of them identify with that day. And in the recognition of this day, it is to them the recognition of the sacrifices made by their people. So I think in doing this, President Mohamed Buhari, and then to what you have just said about now making governance to really touch the people. Because we have recognized June 12 was about. Because we want to talk about June 12, this government and successive government will soon come to realize that Nigerians have a template in June 12. And they were hoping, like Hope 93, they were hoping Abiola will come around and turn things around. And we are still hoping today. Now that we have June 12 as a day we will celebrate yearly, I see it as a way of reminding our leaders that we are still hoping 26 years after hope was given to us by MKO Abiola. So it's not something we can just wish away. It is...
Your final words.
May I then request that by June 12, 2020, can we have consistent power supply in Nigeria, functional refineries, a vibrant economy, sound health facilities for the people? Then we can look back and say now June 12 as a recognized day has delivered dividends of good governance. And that is when I will be impressed.
It's within our rights to
All right.
For that.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your submission on this topic. Thank you so much.